Well, as we told you before the break, we have with us Olusegun Okunade, business and public affairs analyst. Well, good morning once again. You saw what the president, all of the statements he made at his maiden presidential speech celebrating Nigeria's 63rd anniversary or independence anniversary. Some people would tell you, of course, there have been praises, criticisms, different constructive analysis of all of the statements the president made. Would you say that this is the usual presidential speeches we get every independence anniversary, or do you see this as, a template to work on for a better Nigeria?
Good morning, Bolande, and good morning, Blessed, and to all our viewers. Let me first say Happy Independence Day. It's worth celebrating as a Nigerian, because if we refuse to japa, we are still a patriotic citizen of this country. So back to your question, I see more of emphatic statement and move by the president in the direction that will salvage our situation in the nearest future. He spoke to the aspect of the subsidy. You and I understand that it's been a pipe that people have been using over the years to just make things move. But people like us have a personal view that the policy was actually right, but the implementation seems to be a bit worrisome in the fact that we expected that having the crude oil and the human capital, all we needed was have a good process of the crude oil to give us the finished product. And even if we are not selling out, at least to domesticate some of those things. And it was on that premise the last administration hung on, to say that Dangote refinery, that they had about 20% stake in, will definitely commence operation. I think around, they started with July, moved to August, and now, here we are in October. It seems that we are not even hearing anything again about that. Seems to be hearing more of the Port Harcourt refinery coming up by December. But it gives so much worries that with the stake that we have in that investment, we are not having any clear picture of what that product will be available to us as citizens, knowing fully well that we are. And it's what call for concern when you ask me. It's not enough to just feel that you want to block the leakages, impacting or inflicting hardship on the generality of the people. That's why I said it's a good policy. But I'm just concerned about the implementation so that we can have that. You can see a lot of issues. This has generated labor calling for strike, the cost of things going up, inflation has actually moved up. It's because the implementation of it. I know that the president was so passionate about it, when you've heard a lot about how the intrigues of how those issues have been mismanaged. Remember, he came up to say that was not part of his speech. He just like, if people are still not putting this, and I'm an advocate that I have compassion on the people, why am I not seeing this in the speech? And he waited for the best time to say subsidy is gone. No explanation. It's not a lengthy sentence. It's just a 3-word subsidy is gone. And he moved on, with his words. So, but it's much more than the emotion. I think we should look at the side of implementation. If we are able to have our refinery, start functioning and complementing with what Dangote and Boa and some other people will be doing, I think we'll be relieved of it. And looking at the other aspect of increment or the allowance.
I was going to ask you that question. You did make mention about how the removal of fuel subsidy and its poor implementation has dived a lot of economic macroeconomic fundamentals in the country. Now the big question now here is with the additional provision of the 25,000 naira to reduce the impact of inflation and also caused by the removal of fuel subsidy, do you think, in your own opinion, that this is the right step in the right direction to improve the standard of living for the targeted beneficiaries?
No. I would say no and no again. I sat down yesterday to look at it that the Labour Congress seems to be, they seems to have put the president under serious pressure. As an accountant, I don't expect that kind of approach. Approach to this. Why am I saying this? We understand the fact that the hardship is much, but ask yourself, 6 months. We know how to make use of the words more than the Britons who understand the English. Now I'm having provisional allowance. That's another language we'll be battling with, because the definition of it as an accountant, I'm still battling it in my brain. And you ask yourself, it's meant for the low income earners. What happens to the average, the middle class, the higher class? What happened to the people that works with the state government? Because this is not a minimum wage.
Yes.
It's not a minimum wage.
Yes.
It's just like you're saying, I'm giving 25%, 25,000. And if you look at that percentage to the minimum wage, is to say that it's about 90%, 90-something percent of it. Are you going to give provisional allowance to someone earning 500,000, the same 90% provisional allowance for 6 months? That's the question that beckons, for answer. Or you are going to prorate it down. Then at what percentage? Because
but they said that it's just for those low income. So some
are they buying product from a different market? The same market that a low income person buys from is where you and I buy from. Yes. They are considering the federal government staff, the federal government civil service. State is there, private sector are there. I'm sure you will not wake up to say, sir, I'm a low income earner, sir, as the president, sir. There is a way you talk to your guy, you start putting your ear by the side. As the low income earner, sir,
but it doesn't affect the private sector.
Why?
It's for the public sector, according to the president's statement.
So why are you not putting those people into cognizance? Because you are putting the business owner under pressure. The implication of what has happened yesterday is that the market man does not know the distinction between a low income earner or a middle class or a private sector. Everybody works. As a matter of fact, people don't know I have a business. In fact, I'm a civil servant. Because most of the time you see me,
a big man.
that's work. Most of the time, it's good to have good perception of people, but we understand those dynamics. The truth of it is, people see you more of civil servants than being a business owner, and that's what we're saying. This will put so much pressure. What I was expecting is some of the moves he made with some of these manufacturing companies. We heard about BUA coming down to say cost of cement will be reduced from 5,005 or 5,008 to about 3,005. I was looking at the strategic alliance with manufacturers. Food, we know Dangote brings in so much sugar, is into so many consumables. Can we have such? The reduction is about 40-something percent. Can we have same obtainable across certain, consumables that people will do? The manufacturers.
But that's reduction. Is it in consonance with the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria? Because as of last week they talked about the fact that cement might increase to as high as 9,000 naira
if
in
we
December.
Continue with concrete roads. And then again, I want to add to that question. Don't you see this move as a way to win the heart of labor and to not allow them to go on with their planned nationwide strike?
Yeah, you see, there are ways you can explain certain things to people. They are making provision of that. And we are taking 15 million more people into the social net. And you said we have revenue problem. I ask myself, are this thing in sync? You have revenue challenges that you cannot meet certain obligation, but you are increasing. I'm talking from the perspective of a business owner. You are increasing your expenses.
Cost of operation.
Cost of operation, your expenses, it's not even cost of operation. You are talking of personnel expense here. Just personnel, of which certain organization will look at it to say, we are maintaining this salary, but we are providing this, cushioning this for you. The CNG buses that we made provision, we've spoken about 3-4 months ago, we are still not having value. They are not yet. They are still in talking time to make those things. So these 25,000 that are been approved for the low income. It's just like for me, it's my personal view. When they suggested 8,000 for the indigent people, that we said no, we don't want that. We want more of infrastructure development that people can plug in. Instances is one. Can we have constant power supply? That I know that at every point in time I can venture into businesses that will fetch me more money, and on that note, it will increase the collection. Because when you start doing business, even as low-income person, whether formal or informal, you pay certain taxes to the government, which will generate revenue for you. Power is strategic. I'm looking at area where we can invest more in it, where you don't think about, no, I must do this for this certain hour, and go and relax. Certain set of people, we have lost the technical arm of our sector, which is for the low-trodden that we're talking about. The so-called artisans, the welders, the barber, majority of them are on the path riding Okada, killing themselves all the time. For those of us that are here. But do you know that if there is power supply, an average artisan who has attended a technical school will definitely, go around and learn those things. Those days while we were growing up, there are apprenticeship. Do we still have that now? Because there is no even power supply to train those people to do those things.